All right, this is going to sound like deja vu for my Lunch and Learn Medicine Monday watchers, listeners who've been around for a long time. 80% of y'all will crater by February when it comes to your New Year's resolutions. 80%, right? And this is a number that has not changed. In fact, I do an episode like this towards the end of the year every year for about 3 years now. I think it's been going. I got to check. It's been about 3 years. I keep doing it. And the reason why the numbers aren't getting any better is because the reasons why the 80% people fail still remain the same, right? And I know, right? I see my numbers, right? I'm not the biggest like health content creator around, right? So I understand that like not everyone's gonna get the message the first time I got it, right? So guess what? We're back, right? We are gonna see how can we plan for 2026 so that any health transformation we're looking for, not resolution, right? Let's get rid of that word. Health transformation we're looking for, we can actually work on it, grow on it, hit and deal with any roadblocks that come around and surpass February and March and then April. And then by the time the next year comes around, God willing, I'm still here, I can be recording the fact that, hey, 80% of y'all not failing, but you are not a part of that 80%, right? So we're going to talk today about health transformation for 2026, how to prepare for it. Why do these New Year's resolutions continue to keep failing y'all over and over and over again, and how you guys can be armed with the right information so that you can hit the ground running. So again, you don't even, in fact, that way you don't even have to wait till January 1st to start doing something. You could probably start doing something now when this episode drops. All right, so again, as a board certified internist, public health professional, a guy who loves coming online to talk and educate our Lunch and Learn community, right? I got some questions, right? But more importantly, hopefully I have some answers today, right? Like, what is it that causes us not to do well with our transformations that we're looking for, right? Obviously, I'm focusing on the health transformation. Um, every year, everybody has a different transformation they typically are looking for, when the new year comes around, because they get to reflecting. Obviously, my wheelhouse is the health transformation, right? Like, how can I get my community to make the health transformation they're looking for, right? So, that's what we're working on. So, let's talk about why so many of y'all fail, right? Let's talk about why so many, again, 80% by February, 90% by March. Why do so many of y'all fail? We set very vague goals, and we do this, right? Oh, I want to get healthy. I want to lose weight. I want to make more money. I want to gain some strength, right? Like I want to run, right, forever, right? Like our goals are very vague in nature, and we do that. You might want to know, Dr. Pierre, why do we do that? Like, why do we set these vague goals in the beginning, right? Again, shout out, and for those in the know, I'm an author now, right? Your health, your choice, your future, and I talk a lot about how mindset plays a big factor in our healthcare. When we think about the vague goals and why we do it, a lot of times is we have failed ourselves before when we made specific goals, right? When we put ourselves out there, says, hey, you know what, I want to run, a mile in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever time is, right? I want to lose 50 pounds, right? Like when we've had specific goals, because we have failed them in the past, we say, hey, you know what? I don't want to have that personal feeling of failure, right? Because I don't want to have that personal feeling of failure. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just say, I want to lose some weight or I want to gain some weight, right? I want to get healthier, right? But I don't really say how or what I actually want to do. I just give you this broad brush, right? Because you can't pin me down, right? So we vague our goals, right? Because we don't want, right, people to be able to pin us down and say, hey, I thought you were going to lose some weight. I thought you were going to gain some weight. I thought you were going to get stronger. I thought you were going to go to the gym 3 times a week, right? We don't do those things here because we don't want to be held accountable for our actions by the time February and March come around. But we're not doing that. Now that you're watching this show, now that you're part of my, anyone who watches this show or listens to this show on the podcast, you are a part of my Lunch and Learn community, right? So we're not going to do that in the Lunch and Learn community, right? A big thing as well, right? We try to change everything, right? We try to do so many things at one time, right? And that the act of getting healthier may mean so many different things that once you start having to write down, right, like all the things you need to do, you're like, whoa, this list is a lot longer than expected. I don't know if I'm doing all of that. That's a very long list. And that's how February comes around and y'all are part of the 80%, or March comes around and you're part of that 90%, right? Because you start realizing all the things you promise yourself you're going to do is actually a lot of things, and then think small. And we're big trend followers, especially in this day and age where social media and TV and radio and internet and all, like everything seems very trend like, right? I'm on TikTok, right? So I understand it's very easy to follow trends, especially if you see the trend moving and getting into motion, right? But following a trend when you're trying to make a transformation will never succeed. Understand what I just said? Following a trend when you're trying to make a transformation will never succeed, right? So that's typically why we end up in that 80 to 90%, right? Because we're trying to follow this trend, right? And on the transformation that we're trying to make, that transformation that needs to be a lifelong transformation, we want to follow a short-term trend. Did that make sense? I'm following a short-term trend for a long-term transformation I'm looking for. That does not make sense. That does not come around. And again, the result, like you always know, you get frustrated, you get guilty, you feel like a failure, you're embarrassed, right? So you just say, you know what? On to next year. Like that's why in February people will be like, I quit. I'm going to start next year. Meaning I'm going to wait 9 months, right? Think about this. I'm going to wait 9-10 months before I do anything else again. No. Not in the Lunch and Learn community. Not in the Lunch and Learn community will you not do that. Like not gonna happen, right? So, and again, like I said, I've taken care of plenty of patients. I got plenty of family members. I've been in the same position as well too, where like when I have certain goals that I'm trying to obtain, if they're grandiose, like they're not gonna do well, right? Because like nah, that's just too big, or like, oh, you're not specific enough. Like I will implore a lot of these things that I'm going to talk to you guys today about it, right? Again, I'm going to talk to you guys, especially in Lunch and Learn community, every single year until my heart is to my lips are blue, and like I can't talk no more, right? Like I might be 60 years old coming up on, hey, all right, to prepare a transformation in 2040, right? Like like I'm gonna be doing this forever, right? Like I said, because I love y'all for that, dude, right? So let's talk about why it's so important, especially as a healthcare provider, as a physician, as a father, as a husband, as a friend, brother. Like let's talk about why it's so important, right, to have the appropriate setup when you're trying to get better and trying to do better for yourself, right? For number one, right? Remember, change is not instant. A lot of you are not in the position that you're in right now over something that happened overnight, right? For a lot of y'all, it's been months, it's been days, it's been years that that a behavior that you need to change has been affecting you, right? And it's not gonna change just because it's January 1st or January 2nd, right? But a lot of us have a very short time horizon on how long we think something will take to get corrected, versus the long-term horizon of, all right, when I do the things I need to do, look how much better my life is going to be over months and years, right? Like our timing is off. Small steps matter the most. I say this all the time. The stuff that feels too easy is important, right? Because you may be like, that's nothing. I just went to the gym on the Tuesday and I only spent 20 minutes in there, right? And you may be thinking like, it was only 20 minutes, but trust me, like that first week it may not feel nothing. That third week it may not feel nothing. That 10th week it may not feel nothing. But all of a sudden, like you look back and you're like, oh, like I really been going to the gym consistently for like a year now, right? Like that is how the gym works, right? Like the gym, like again, there's no instant gratification in the gym. Maybe some instant pain or discomfort, but there's no instant gratification, right? You have to look back and be like, man, you know what? I actually did pretty freaking well over there. I love that. So I love that for myself, right? Your environment and support system are so important, especially when you're trying to make the transformation. Remember, this is not a trend. We're making a transformation. We're not doing a trend. We're doing a transformation. Your environment and your support system around you, right, will be important, right? Because those are people you're going to have to lean on, right? When, the hurdle comes around, right? When February comes around, that's the person you're going to have to lean on. That's the group you're going to have to lean on and say, hey, you know what? It's February. I know 80% of us typically fail around February, but I'm going to lean into you guys more to make sure y'all get me to March and then April and then May and so on, right? Like we just got to get you over that hump, right? And I remember when I think about this, right, I want you guys to answer this in the question, right? What do you think is the number one mistake people make when planning for a healthier year? Put that in the comments. I like that question. What do you think is the number one mistake people make planning for the health transformation that they're looking for? What is the number one mistake? Put that in the comments, because I think it's so important to recognize, hey, these are the mistakes that a lot of people are making. Because if you recognize it, you can say, all right, I need to avoid that mistake. Oh, I was going to do that, and let me avoid that mistake, right? So it's important. So again, number one mistake you think people make when trying to enact a health transformation, I want you to put that in the comments. For my YouTube watchers, shout out to y'all. We love y'all. Make sure you're subscribed to the show. Now let's talk about some things we can do to improve it, because I think that's important, right? Like how do I help make the transformation for 2026, right? Like what are some things I can do, Dr. Pierre, right? That's what we're here for, right? So what are some things I can do to make 2026 a great year, to make sure that I don't fall into that 80% rule, 80% group that continues to fail, 90% that fail by March? How do I do that, right? So number one, and I've talked about this before, right? Setting up very smart goals, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. Those 5 factors alone: specific, measurable, achievable. I could stop right there. And just the small goals. Now, smart, relevant, right? Make sure it's relevant to you, and time bound, right? Like you're not going to get fit. That's not a transformation. You are going to walk 20 minutes after dinner 3 times a week. That, boom, boom, boom. You see how specific that is? Oh, I want to get fit. Okay. What does that even mean? What does that mean for you? I want to get fit. Oh, I want to walk 20 minutes after dinner 3 times a week. All right. Now we're cooking. Now we can kind of grade ourselves. Hey, did I walk 3 times a week? Did I walk my 20 minutes? Did I walk after dinner? Did I walk at all? Right? Like this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. This is specific. Not I'm going to eat better. It's I'm gonna add a vegetable to lunch and dinner every single day. Right? Yeah. So hopefully you understand the SMART goal versus the goal. A lot of y'all are just coming up with goals. I want to get better. I want to eat better. I want to lose weight. But if it's a SMART goal, it's no, I want to do this in this amount of time, this often, right? Like much more specific when we're trying to get to where we need to get to. Plan for success and make sure your environment is set up that way. If you're trying to eat healthier, guess what? You're probably not a good idea to have unhealthy foods around you. If you're trying to eat healthier, it's probably not a good idea to have unhealthy foods around you, right? So make sure your environment is also set up for a level of success, right? That's important. Make sure your workout clothes are there. You got your water bottle clean. That, especially for those who, I'm a person who I like going to the gym in the morning. Like when I say in the morning, I'm like 6 o'clock in the morning, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. And there's so many different hurdles that I got to make sure is ready to go, because at 5:30 in the morning, your body will make up an excuse not to go to that gym. I can assure you that. Oh, I can't find the water bottle. You don't got your water bottle, don't go to the gym. Oh, I can't find my clothes. Oh, well, if you don't got your clothes, man, don't even go to the gym, man. Oh, I can't find my car keys. No car keys, man. There's no way you could go to the gym, right? Like your body will try to find a way to get out of getting you healthier, right? So make sure your environment is set up for your success. Start with the small things. Again, start with the small baby steps that seem small, but in the grand scheme of things, they add up to large, big things, right? So tiny habits. Let me see here. Oh, yeah, stack new habits on top of the old ones to make sure. Research shows atomic habits work. Start so small you can't fail. So small you can't fail. I don't want you to think you're about to run a mile if you never run at all, right? Right? but maybe you can walk like a quarter of a mile. Start with walking an eighth of a mile. Start small, something that you know you can't fail. It got to be small. Don't go trying to run a mile. Don't do that. Don't waste don't waste your time because you're gonna fail. Right? You may not fail, but like most of you will fail. 80% of y'all. But start small, can't fail, work your way up. Build in accountability. That's when I talked about that group, right? I talked about the group, right? You got to have a good group around you. And reflect and adjust monthly. Reflect and adjust monthly. A lot of y'all, right? And some of y'all may need to adjust and reflect every week, right? Just keeping track to make sure someone on top of your accountability partner or group is keeping you abreast of what's going on, right? So again, reflect and adjust appropriately, and that is how you'll get to where you get to, right? Because if you don't do these things, right? Because I think that's a base structure for transformation, right? We're not doing trends here, we're doing transformations here. Resolution is a trend, right? That's why everyone does it at the end of the year. I want to do my New Year's resolution. That's a trendy thing, right? We want to make a transformation. We got to put ourselves in the best position to make a transformation. That's how we do that, right? Because we do the small things first. We set up the SMART goals. We got our environment of success. We do these things needed to be done to make sure that by February, March, we're still going, right? There's no hiccups. There's no headaches. There's no like, I didn't feel like going to the gym today, or my partner didn't feel like going to the gym, so I didn't go to the gym. No, you have to be self-motivated, self-determined to get to that gym by yourself, so that no excuse stops you from going to the gym. No excuse stops you from eating healthier. No, like you got to be so motivated that nothing is going to, like you're almost going to be upset when things try to get in your way to try to complete your goal, right? That's what I want you to do. Be upset with when that happens, right? So let's talk about some myths, right? Let's talk about some myths that are causing a lot of y'all to fall off by February. Go big or go home. Science shows that small, consistent changes beat these heroic goals, right? So again, don't think I'm going to lose 100 pounds, right? Lose the first 5. Like it may sound crazy. Yes, I want you to, in general, lose 100 pounds if you need to lose 100 pounds, or in general, be able to put on a whole bunch of muscle. But if you don't start small, if you don't have some type of small goal, you're always going to think you fail. Oh my God, I didn't lose 100 pounds. Oh, it's a failure. I'm a failure. Oh my God, I didn't gain that weight. Oh my God, I didn't run that mile. I'm a failure. No. Like, did you run half the mile? Did you run a quarter of a mile? Did you go to the gym and lift a weight, right, to get a bit stronger, right? Are you eating appropriate? Like all these things I need you to do, but you can't do it because you're just thinking about this big heroic goal. So make sure whatever your big goal is, you have small incremental goals along the way. Oh, I just need willpower. I just need willpower. If I just had the willpower, I would do it. No, willpower is like a battery, right? It goes up, it goes down, right? But when you're determined to do something, you're determined to transform yourself for the better, right? Whether you have willpower or not, you just go. Because some days you may not feel like it. And that's honest. Some days you may not feel like eating good. Some days you may not feel going for a walk after dinner. Some days you may not feel going to the gym. Some days you may not feel like it, but you got to do it anyways. It's a commitment. You got to do it anyways. And that's where I want you to be at, right? Because you relying on willpower, and then the second that willpower battery go down, you're like, I'm done. I'm good for a day. I'll start tomorrow. I'll work out tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, I'll do it again. And all of a sudden, it's a week and you ain't work out, right? Because that your willpower drained on Monday, Saturday comes around. For some reason, that willpower still hasn't recharged yet, right? But guess what? Don't need recharging? Commitment. Because when you got a commitment to transform, when you have a commitment to transform, everything looks good. You keep it rocking, right? But when you don't got that commitment, you end up where you end up, right? I don't want you to be that way. If I miss a day, I failed. Again, also not false, right? Again, these are people who, again, like let's say your commitment is I want to work out 5 days a week, right? But you miss one day, right? That's cool, right? Go again the next day, right? Like, but yeah, you're not a failure because you happen to miss Wednesday because work was a little bit longer than expected, right? Just recognize that, oh, what happened on this day that made me not be able to complete my obligation? How can I avoid it, right? Like that's when we talk about that risk mitigation, setting yourself up for success in your environment. This is how things like that come around when we think about it, right? Because remember, right, we want to avoid these myths, right? These are some big myths, right? Again, remember, Go big or go home, that's a myth. I just need willpower, another myth. If I miss a day, I fail, that's a myth. These are all issues that allow yourselves to crater by February. These are all problems that allow yourself to just crumble by February. And I don't want that. I don't want that for y'all. Y'all don't want that for y'all. Right. So we want to make sure y'all get better. Right. So before we get up out of here, right? Before we get up out of here, remember the theme, right? We are not into trends. We are not into this trend of a resolution, New Year's resolution. We are into transformations. We are into commitments to ourselves and to others, our loved ones. And when we are into commitments, we think long term. We don't think short term. We're not looking for a short term gratification. We recognize that going to the gym that first week ain't gonna do nothing for you. That fourth week ain't gonna do nothing for you. You may not feel it till the 12th week. You may not recognize it till the 12th week, but at least you got there, right? That's the goal. That is the goal. Set specific, tiny, trackable goals, obviously, that makes sense. Make sure your environment is on point. Get your environment together, and don't let those fake myths and slip-ups slow you down, because I don't want you guys to be out here by Valentine's Day talking about my New Year's resolution. That's over and done with. I don't want Valentine's Day to come around and you're already talking about, hey, I'll just save it for next year. What do you mean? This is February. Like, this is February. Like, you got March, you got April, you got May, you got June, you got July. Like, you got some more months to get right back up on the wagon. We're not going to let you quit, especially if you're a Lunch and Learn community member. We are not going to let you quit just because, right? So again, drop it in the comments. If you're a part of my Lunch and Learn community, especially again, if you're watching, you subscribe, drop it in the comments. Say, yes, I'm not going to let myself quit for 2026. I'm trying to transform. Tell us what your transformation is, right? I'd like to see that in the comments. We're getting, especially on my YouTube, where we're getting very good at getting up and keeping up with the comments, right? Because I know that was an issue, but we're cleaning that up, man. So I'm very excited for y'all. I think we're going to have a great 2026. And I say this every year, right? I think we have a great year. I think the transformation is going to be paramount. I think it's going to be important to make sure you got a good community around you, like the Lunch and Learn community. Again, I'm yours truly, Dr. Barry Pierre, the host of Medicine Mondays. I'm going to see you next week.